Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, good morning, bonjour, hola, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Ken at Gone 10. Apologies for my tardiness this morning. I'm actually out and about in Loughborough Junction in Brixton at the moment, and I just thought didn't get a chance to do the Ken at 10, so I'm just running through the property headlines. How are you today? We are James Alexander. If you haven't been here before, welcome. We broadcast every day, usually at 10 o'clock. This is the first time I've been late in quite a number of weeks. And we talk about property because we love it. We sell and let properties in and around southwest London. And at the moment, I'm just waiting for a surveyor, just waiting for him to carry out his business on an incredible flat we've got, actually. That's got its really cool, kind of arty place. That's the upper floor. It's called the Lofts, and it's absolutely incredible. But let's talk about mortgages first of all. The news is in Sky News and City AM. Mortgage approvals fell for their lowest level since July 2020 last month, with the end of the stamp duty holiday prompting a decline in activity. Bank of England figures show that lenders approved 67,000 mortgages in October, which is down from 71 in September, and a high of 104,547 in November 2020. With October's number close to the 67,700 12-month average in the year to February. The bank noted the market's returning to pre-pandemic level. It also shows that the amount borrowed fell to a net 1.6 billion from 9.3 billion in September. And the FCA is urging lenders to support mortgage prisoners. This is something we talked about before. And if you're in this situation, do get in touch, because I'd love to chat to you about this. But I do think a lot of people are in this position, and it's just not fair. And what we call the mortgage prisoners. Now, the Financial Conduct Authority have urged banks and building societies to consider changing lending criteria to help an estimated 47,000 people who could benefit from a cheaper mortgage but are currently stuck and unable to move. It seems really unreasonable to me that the people very much at the bottom of the financial pile are pushed even further on rates than anyone else. It just doesn't seem right. There should be something done about this. And the review of mortgage prisoners found that 195,000 households have had debt sold on to inactive lenders. So these lenders are just there to jump on people in the worst possible scenario, really, and charge the highest possible rates. And it shows that a quarter could save money if they were allowed to switch to a new deal. The review, which looked at the position of borrowers whose loans were sold on to new lenders after the financial crisis, found about 47% were paying an interest rate between 3 and 5%, compared to 17% of borrowers with active lenders, while 3.3% were locked into paying interest rates of more than 5%. And this compares with 0.8% of other borrowers. It's just not fair, is it? Just not right and proper. Japanese knotweed is picked up by the Daily Mail, and they're asking how much of a problem does it really pose. And the article states that it's responsible for slashing £11.8 billion off the value of the UK property market. A new research by a removal specialist claims the invasive plant on property reduces its value by an average of 5%, according to figures from Environet. It's not our experience, providing there's a professional treatment programme in place. There's a lot of it in southwest London, and it is a problem, a massive problem. And these treatments come with insurance-backed guarantees long term, usually take 3 years, and it's a really virulent, hard to get rid of weed. But mortgage broker SPF client explained that those buying in the past where the lender may have automatically declined a mortgage application, and it can remain challenging. Lenders confirm they are open to providing finance if a management plan is in place. So provided you're managing it, do not ignore it, do not bury your head in the sand. Now, leasehold reform, the bill has voted through stage 1. This is important because this is the one where we've had people unreasonably hit with massive doubling of ground rents on brand new homes. It was a proper stitch up by the big builders, it really was. And MPs have backed setting the cost of ground rents in new housing in England and Wales at one peppercorn per year. Peppercorn is a term we use to mean nothing in property. So where ground rent is peppercorn, it means that in reality there's nothing payable. You could say it's a penny or something like that. The government-sponsored plan, if it becomes law, will effectively leave landowners who buy only leases rather than freeholds paying nothing. The move follows concerns that leaseholders are being charged exorbitant, fast-rising ground rents, and it's past its first stage. So that's good news for you if you're looking to buy a new build because you can't get stitched up by these ridiculous plans. Eddie Hughes, the housing minister, went on to say, regardless of whether the ground rent is nominal or peppercorn or thousands of pounds, the fundamental issue is that no meaningful service is provided in return. We want to end this for new leases, and this is why we're legislating. Well, that's good, but it doesn't do anything for those trapped in unreasonable leases, trying to extend their leases at exorbitant prices. And we've said for a while now that as much as the Leasehold Reform Act, a lot of people are seeing it as a panacea and hoping that it will end the process of people achieving large fees for extending of leases, but there's no guarantee that it will do that. We hope it does, but there's no guarantee of that. A lot of people are still extending their leases in the normal way, and rightly so. Now, did cladding test fail safety 13 years before the fire at Grenfell? It's an interesting article in BBC News and the FT. A fire expert is demanding that ministers reveal why highly dangerous cladding, secretly tested in the early 2000s, was the product used in the Grenfell Tower. In September, the BBC uncovered details of cladding products that failed safety tests some 13 years before the blaze. Dr. Jonathan Evans believes that among these was an aluminium and plastic cladding that spread the 2017 London fire. Dr. Evans, a member of the BS 8414 committee set up to review the standard testing, has written to the Housing Secretary, Michael Gove, demanding confirmation of his conclusions. Meanwhile, giving evidence of public inquiry in the tragedy, the then London Fire Brigade Commissioner said she warned ministers about the fire risk to high-rise buildings months before the disaster. Danny Cotton wrote to the then Housing Minister Gavin Barwell, reporting that the LFB were finding problems at the rate of one building a month and warned there could be more elsewhere. It's shocking, that, isn't it? I mean, clearly it was known far earlier and nothing was done. It took a tragedy like Grenfell to actually change things. Absolutely shocking. So, apart from that, what else is going on in the world? Demand for credit's going up, and that is along the lines of the UK's are starting to bite into their Christmas spend, no doubt, and the emergence of Omicron will make a difference to what's going on. Masks are now compulsory in the state agency, by the way, and not that we've ever really stopped. Whenever I visit a property, as you'll know if you had a valuation with us, always, 100% of the time, you'll find me wearing a mask because I think it's the right thing to do. And I never varied from that strategy. And even now with the office, we're really, really careful. You know, one of our employees right now has a partner that's just coming back from overseas. And so we're being really careful about her reintroduction to the office, making sure that, first of all, they're off while we see what goes on with their partner. And secondly, that they're tested before they come back. The most important thing that we can do, because this thing will end, whether it ends after Omicron or whether Omicron's not as bad as we expect remains to be seen. But this thing will end, no question of that. And when it does, things will start getting back to normal. But in the meantime, things to do and things not to do. Number one, don't drive yourself mad worrying about it. Why? Because there's no point worrying about something you can have no impact on. What you can have an impact on is your own actions and movements. So you can make sure you stay safe, you have your jabs, wear your mask. But what you can't do is have any impact on whether Omicron becomes the spreader that we're all potentially fearful of. Let's hope not. Let's do our best to protect ourselves and our families. And this will end at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. In the meantime, the property market's still crazy busy. If you think of selling, do get in touch. There are still transactions out there. People are largely business as usual as far as the Omicron variant is so far, but it's very early days. We suspect that it will quieten down across the Christmas holiday anyway. It usually does, but that's more a supply issue. It's not that there's not demand or appetite for property out there. There's lots of confidence, lots of demand, and lots of appetite for property right now. The big problem is just an undersupply of available properties. So if you're thinking, should I sell? Then give us a call, have a chat. You know, there are people out there that are looking to buy right now. As far as the weather's concerned, here in southwest London, it's chilly. It's a very chilly one. I'm here with my scarf on, sitting in the car with the engine off, trying not to pollute the place. But in a minute, I might switch it back on again. So have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching. So we're tardy and late today. We'll be back in the office tomorrow. Usual place, usual time, 10 o'clock. Until then, stay safe, look after your family and friends. Ciao.